Peace, y'all. Got a quick live event update for you. If you're in the tri-state area on Saturday, May 10th, I'm hosting the 8th iteration of my Real Talk Movie Night series, where I invite a rapper of note to pick a movie and screen it in front of an audience. This month, my guest is the one and only Billy Woods, flagship artist and co-founder of Backwoods Studios. We'll be watching the Japanese psychological horror film Cure at Loudmouth in Brooklyn, followed by a brief interview and Q&A revolving around his next studio album, Gollywog, out everywhere May 9th. This event will be held at 348 Marcus Garvey Boulevard in Brooklyn. And I don't know, maybe there'll be an opportunity to copy some vinyl, but don't tell him I told you that. Tickets are $10 and you can buy them via the Partyful link in the episode description. You can purchase via Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or at the door the day of while supplies last. Tickets are gonna go fast for this one, y'all. So if you're hearing this and will be around, get them ASAP. Like, this is not one you're gonna want to wait for. Like, I promise. I promise. Don't miss this chance to kick it with me and Woods in an intimate setting the day after his latest album drops. It's going to be a party. Hope to catch y'all there. Now let's get into the episode. Peace. My name is Dylan CineMasai Green, and welcome to the Real Notes podcast. I speak with rappers, producers, journalists, and other hip-hop adjacent figures about their relationship with movies, and, if at all, film inspires their craft. Guest this week is New York via Maryland rapper, singer, producer, songwriter, journalist, and harpist Raegun. We spoke about the Pitt, The Amateur, Indian cinema, Hansel and Gretel witch hunters, All About Lily Chou-Chou, Brockhampton, coming up in the hyperpop and digicore scenes, getting into criticism and journalism, and the creative process behind several of her songs, including her 2021 EP Cherry Blossom Blooms and her latest singles on Soundcloud. Come fuck with us. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. It's 2 p.m. on what's today? Thursday? A Thursday afternoon. I got a smoothie and hash browns. I'm looking at this food and I don't remember what words are. I got a smoothie and hash browns next to me. This is like, I just got a new laptop, so everything looks nice and clear, and I hope it sounds great. I don't know. This is all like, I've been working off this thing for like 3 days. So welcome to my new. Not even my new studio. We're in my room. My name's Dylan Green, CineMasai. Got a lot of names. Do a lot of shit outside, inside, all side. Also new glasses. But I'm with somebody today who's man. I'm already blanking on how we first connected and met. But seeing the way that she's just gone up, even just in the short amount of time that I've known her. And like she already had a rep before I even came into the picture, you know. So like, I mean, like I want to try to get as much. I want to try to get as much in here as I can. You're a college student. You're a harpist. Is that how you describe playing? Okay, a harpist. You're a rapper, you're a singer, you're a producer, you're a songwriter, you're a journalist. You cover like all 8 quadrants of this shit we run in, and you're incredible. Please welcome Raegun. Please welcome Rae-alia Crumble.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Like I'm just, yeah, like I said, I can't remember when we first got acquainted and when we first got connected, but just like hearing your music and seeing your writing, like you've been somebody I've like, we need to make an episode of this show happen. You know, just like all the different things you do and all the different types of art that you make and create. I was like, this needs to be covered. So Ray, thank you. Like I'm gonna say it 1,000 times. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world.
Thank you so much.
Like it's just like I still think about the Mavi interview you wrote for Tone Glow. Like that, just like what I'm gonna link it wherever links go. But just like incredible piece of work, and just like your reviews and everything is. We're gonna get into all of it, but I'm just really happy to have you here. You've been one of my favorite prospects for a while, and I'm just like, you're still in school. Like that's the craziest shit to me.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to juggle for sure.
No, I'm sure. And we're going to get into all of that, but let me ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on here, which is
question. I know the question.
Come on. What was the last No. You say it, please.
What is it? What is the last movie that I watched that I had a strong opinion on?
I've never had somebody read the question to me, so that was special. But please tell me your answer.
I was thinking about this too because I'm like, damn, I know that's gonna be the question because it's a few things because I'm a watcher. Like I be on Letterbox sometimes typing whole like I'm a watcher. So I'm gonna give you a couple. What show? The Pit, obviously. I mean, who
Uh-huh.
like it's
See, I got one episode left. I still didn't watch the finale.
ah. No.
The last thing I saw was the fallout from the shooting at the festival. And
That shit's crazy.
yeah, man. Like
I think it's like really crazy because the pacing of I mean the whole premise of the show is like this pacing is ridiculous. Like everyone's jumping from here to here and it's like one big day. But when you get to that, it's like wow. So this like chaotic shit that was already happening was nothing compared to like the actions.
yeah, like because like at first when I started watching, I was like, oh, this is just like 24, but in a hospital. That's kind of cool and interesting. But yeah, like I don't know, just all the characters, all the development. It's like they really nail the chaos, and it's like yeah, I don't think I realized it until like really realized it until like 6 or 7 episodes in, and then I was like, this has been like a day. Like I was talking to my partner, I'm like, this has been like a day, like not even a whole day. Like it's been like 6 hours. Like
No,
I can't.
it's very crazy, especially with like the intertwining like character plots. Like, oh, can I like say what like shit about what happens in the show?
Yeah, yeah.
Again,
Come on.
I don't know if niggas gonna be mad because like it just came out type shit.
Nah,
But
you're straight. Go ahead.
like uh when what is homeboy's name? Dr. Langdon gets sent home and then niggas on Twitter talking about, oh, it's his. He's having a comeback arc when he comes back, but it's like 2 hours later because it's the same fucking day.
Right.
Not a comeback arc. The nigga just came back. Like he probably just got home and turned the
Yeah.
TV on when the shooting happens, and then he went right back to work. Like this nigga did not take any days off.
Yeah, nigga made a sandwich or some shit. Like it just came back. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm not an addict. Let me just come. You know, like stupid. But like, but I mean, like, I didn't expect that to happen. And like the scene between the two of them when Langdon realizes like, oh, he's just been drugged out this whole time. He's like, I'm not a. He's like, would an addict be able to do that? And he just looked him in the eyes and said, apparently. I was like, damn, like you could just tell he just completely shut down
No,
at
he's a
that point.
tweaker.
Like,
I think Langdon's like progression is better than a lot of the other characters. Cause like if you like Dr. Santos, I feel like it's expected, like, oh, she's an asshole, but you kind of start liking her the longer the show goes on, and you start understanding her more. But Langdon is kind of the
mm,
opposite, where it's like, oh, wow, everyone else is insufferable except for this guy. And then like
yeah.
time it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's a whole generational thing going on between all the different characters. I'm trying to like I'm so bad with the character names on this show. Um, who's the who's the lady with the glasses who may or may not be on the spectrum? Blonde lady.
Mel.
Mel.
That's my favorite character. She's my
I like
favorite.
Mel, I like Mel a lot too, and uh Franklin Saint's mom from Snowfall is on the show. She's like the head hospital lady. So I saw her and I'm like, oh, it's Mrs. Saint from Snowfall. Like, what's she doing here? But she's
I
like
actually
complete.
haven't watched Snowfall, and I was meaning to because I was seeing people talk about it the other day. I still gotta. It's
Yeah,
just hella seasons, right?
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
5. I still haven't finished it yet. Like I was on a marathon. I think I watched like the first 3 seasons and then made it through like a chunk of the fourth. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I need to take a break, and it's been indefinite. I'm gonna get back to it and finish it, but and I know a lot of people have feelings about the ending of Snowfall, but
Yeah, I've seen that.
and then on top of that, this rapper I love named Sky Zoo made a whole concept album from the perspective of Franklin Saint. So I'm like, I should probably finish this at some point.
That's
And just
hard. I got
it's
that's hard.
I'm gonna send it to you. It's cool, but I don't want to get too far off from the pit.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, like Franklin Saint's mom is on the show, and I was like, oh, cool. But yeah, I'm excited to watch the finale. Just haven't gotten around to it yet because life. But
I gotta drop a theory real quick.
Please.
I've been passing this theory around a little bit and getting some opinions on it. So everyone knows, like, okay, Mel is like may or may not be on the spectrum. I think what they're
Right.
trying to do with Dr. Santos is say that Dr. Santos is also is like the other side of the coin of
Yeah.
Mel because she also has trouble expressing her emotions and it just comes out differently. So it's kind of like a oh, this is like the typical representation of like a neurodivergent character, but this is the not so typical representation and how it comes out. So that's how I perceived it.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
didn't I didn't think about that. Maybe that speaks to the I mean, like, I'm also on the spectrum, so that probably just speaks to the fact that, like, I wasn't fully paying attention, but I mean, like, now that I'm gonna watch the finale, I'm gonna keep that in mind. That wasn't on my brain at all. So
So
that's cool as hell.
that's what I got. That's my strong opinion for the
Hey, I love that. Damn. Okay, okay, yeah, nah. Because when I get home from the city tonight, I'm gonna finally finish. Like, I've been working on shit this week. I need to like sit down. I gotta finish the Pit. I gotta start JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Chapter 4.
real.
Um, th- like that's been sitting on the back burner for like 2 years. But anyway, movie. What was the last movie you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
Watch that I have strong opinion. There is was that the last one? I guess it was. Okay, so one thing about me is I'm super into like Indian cinema. And the reason is
Word.
because like I feel like they approach it with a sensibility that American movies stopped doing because of like it got dragged as like cheesy and corny.
Mm-hmm.
Like the sensibility is like the same kind of one you would see on like a Netflix movie that comes on when you like leave the computer running for too long. Except I think they apply it in ways that is like very understanding that it's going to come off as corny and allows them to like explore deeper themes. But there's a movie on Netflix called Badai. It's about like um this gay man and this lesbian woman who are being forced to get into arranged marriages, so they marry each other so they can like start dating and fucking on other people. And it was so good. It was so hilarious, and I loved it.
That's fire. So I mean, like, is this Bollywood we're talking about, or just like
It's
general
just
Indian cinema?
general, like
Okay.
Bollywood, Tamil, Telugu movies.
Right.
So fire. My favorite director, his I don't know if you've heard of him, Mani Ratnam.
That name sounds kind of familiar. I'm not as tapped in with Indian
You
cinema as I should
know,
be.
you got it's so good. It's so good. That's everyone's mission. I'm gonna make everyone's do some homework. You watch at least one Indian movie, just
Yeah.
one, and not
I
like some bullshit. Like why?
right. Yeah. Yeah, nah, like not like don't just watch one of the Doom movies, you know?
Rush.
Which are great. Like I've seen Doom. I think Doom is great. Um yeah, yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna sit here in front, like, I've seen a fair amount, but not a ton. I'm not an expert. I don't know names. I couldn't throw in titles. But
Right.
well, I mean, I could throw in one that is kind of this is kind of embarrassing.
I'm
So it's
scared.
this so it's this movie called it's called Three Dividam. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it before.
The name is familiar.
So like it's a movie about Spider-Man, Captain America, and some third superhero, and they're like all in India, and they're just like it's just a movie. It's a piece of Indian cinema about Spider-Man and Captain America. Like that's always, I don't know why that's the one I always go back to, but it's just like it's
Is it
it's
like a
so
parody?
kinda like it's kind of hard to tell. It's been some years. I saw it in college, and
That
it just like stuck in my brain. But like if you can find it, like I couldn't tell you what it's about. I don't even remember if it's good, but it was memorable. So like I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I gotta remember the name. I'm pretty sure it's Three Dividam. I'm gonna look it up real
you
quick.
never watched RRR?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You
I've
need to
seen
watch
I've,
it. Okay.
I've seen Triple R for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It once it I'm sorry, the movie's called Three Dev Adam, which is it's translated as, it means three giant men. And so it's Captain America, Spider-Man, and Santo, the luchador. So it's just like the three of them just like fighting each other.
Wait, this is
It,
fire.
in this movie. Like,
What the hell?
it's and my fault. It's not Indian. Oh man, it's Turkish.
Oh, this
It's
is Turkey.
Turkish.
No, you just put me on though. What the hell? What?
My yeah, my fault. I fucked up. but but yeah, nah. So it's this Turkish movie from 1973, and it's just about it's a it's a Turk exploitation movie, which I didn't know existed until pretty recently. So I'm sorry. That's not an example of Indian cinema, and I'm putting my foot in my mouth. But either way, um, so put me on to one more.
Let's see.
I need some homework.
There was that movie. It came out last year or 2 years ago, and it was huge. Uh, well, let me go check my letterbox. What was that shit called? It was like huge, and it was really good. All we imagine is like
All we imagine is light. Okay.
that was a good ass movie, and all of the music was from Imohoy.
Ooh.
It was fire.
Okay.
Being
So I
able to
mean,
see.
like, oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, being able to see like I don't know. I've never seen her music being been put in a movie, so being able to have those visuals connected to her music like really informed a new kind of listening experience. I don't know. It was really wonderful.
Oh, what's it about? Before we move on.
It's about it's very there's so many movies about like arranged marriages, but it's about these two roommates. One is like an older woman and one's a younger woman, and they both work at the same job, and this younger woman is like seeing a guy, but it's like really low key, and people are like spreading rumors, being like, "Oh, they're doing this, well, they're not supposed to be seeing each other, whatever." And the older woman was kind of like telling her like, "Yo, you gotta cut this shit out." But at the same time, the older woman was going through like something crazy where like her husband, she had like married someone and he like left for like a year or so, but then just ghosted her and never came back. So
Damn.
it's like them kind of like reconciling and like her understanding the younger woman because of her experience and losing out on her love and stuff like that. Which was like it was really good and I cried my ass off. It was really good.
Send me names later because I got like yeah, I mean like my letterbox watch list has got to be like 5 or 6 dozen deep at this point, but I'm just looking to add whenever I can.
For sure. You gotta watch that one. That one was like it was on a lot of lists last year.
Word. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm a definitely run it up. And before we dive into your earlier history, I what was the last thing I saw? I took my dad to see The Amateur for his birthday 2 days ago, the Rami Malek and Lawrence Fishburne. For anybody who may or may not know, the movie is about like Rami Malek is he's a he's like a cryptologist who works for the CIA, and his wife dies, and she gets killed in a terrorist attack in London, and he's just like, okay, like y'all got to go find out who killed my wife, and they just don't care or whatever, and like they're corrupt, and he's just like, okay, I'm gonna go figure it out myself. Get me some training, or I'm gonna leak all this information about like y'all having participated in like these drone strikes, whatever. There's a whole lot of ethical bullshit that I feel about people holding that type of shit over people's head instead of immediately reporting it, but that's not the point. The point is son gets trained by Lawrence Fishburne. He learns how to make bombs. He knows he can't shoot a gun, so he basically just turns into like, I thought of it. You ever play the Hitman games before?
Yeah, yeah.
So like it's like it reminded me a lot of Hitman, except like Agent 47 is like a comptroller who can't shoot a gun, you know, and like he relies entirely on like setting traps. Like there's a scene where somebody's like swimming in a pool, and he like destabilizes the pressure of the glass and they fall through the floor. Like he like sets up he like rigs bombs and shit. It's like very like it's very like Jean Le Carre spy thriller, like very like modest, mature spy thriller shit.
Yeah.
It was solid. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But the thing that got me was like there's a scene early on where he's scrolling through Reddit, like looking for like tips, and like he says like he mentions a specific subreddit, or maybe he just says Reddit, and I'm just like, we're really, because like this is a movie for like This is a movie for like older millennials or Gen
This is the
Xers.
dad
Like,
like Mission Impossible
so
like
like,
shoot ass movie.
right. So in my head, I'm just like, damn, like all these like all the everybody who would be watching The Equalizer right now, like these people, like Reddit is at such a place in the popular culture that people are like, oh yeah, I know what Reddit is. And it's just like, it's just weird to think that like anybody who doesn't live on the internet, or at least in like the corners that we are in, is like, oh yeah, like that's Reddit. Like, you know, like my dad like knows what Reddit is. He just turned 80 and he knows what Reddit is. And I'm like, okay. Like I just never would have clocked that 10 years ago.
It's become its own like search engine type shit. Like people like now know like, oh, if you need something niche, like look up Reddit after. Like this is
Yeah.
shit that I like like my professors say. Like 50-year-old like
Wow.
it's very wild.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, no, I use Reddit to help do my taxes
It's
on some shit. Like, that's that you know, that's the world we live in. It just is what it is. But the movie was cool. I wasn't like in love with it, but once again, I liked it more than I thought I would. And like, if it makes enough money, they'll make another one.
yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne's bored. He doesn't want to do Morpheus shit anymore. So if they want to give him something to do, I'll go see it. But anyway, let's take it all the way back with you. What's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house. First thing that comes to mind.
See, my memory is really fucked up. But the first thing that comes to mind, it definitely isn't like the very first movie experience.
Yeah, that's fine. It don't
Uh,
have to be the first one.
the first thing that came to mind was there is this like shitty ass Hansel and Gretel movie. I don't know if you remember that one.
I remember the one with Jeremy Renner.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
yeah. And I was like, I was like little, obviously. I'm like a child. And I seen it on TV. I'm like, yo, this shit looks a hype. So I asked my stepfather to take me to the theater, and he's like, yeah, let's lit. And I remember being terrified. I'm like, what? I had never seen anything that like was that gruesome to that point. And it was a
Mm-hmm.
horrible experience because I didn't expect that. I just saw Hansel and Gretel, and I saw they had crossbows, so I was like, oh, this shit's lit. But it was. And like on top of that, obviously the movie isn't good. It's a terrible movie.
Yeah,
So
it's awful.
there's there's no
Man, see, nah, I'm happy you dug. I'm happy you dug that far back. Cause like I feel like we're the only two people on planet Earth who like remember that movie happened. So like, all y'all need to know is like Jeremy Renner, and I forget the lady's name, and I feel terrible about it because she was really good in it. I'm gonna look it up. But like they just like Hansel and Gretel are like demon hunters or
yeah,
something,
that's what it was.
like some shit. I just can't remember what the
Witch hunters.
right, Hansel and Gretel witch hunters. That was it. So yeah, like yeah, so like the two of them. And like of course they're witch hunters because like the whole like they got brought into the witch's house, whatever. So yeah, there's like trolls and witches, and they just like hunt. Like, you ever see you ever see the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing movie from like 04, 05?
I think so.
Yeah, like that was some shit. I had to have been like 12 or 13 when that came out. But it's kind of like that, but it's kind of like that, but with Hansel and Gretel. And yeah, it's a bad movie, but it's definitely one that like, yeah, like if that came out when I was a kid, I definitely would have like begged my dad to go see it,
I
and then
was
walk.
8, I think.
Wow.
Like that was the first rated R movie I saw. Let's
That's tough. Wow, wow. What the bar couldn't have been lower. Like everything's up from there. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was not good.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think
Nah.
the most positive experience I had though
Yeah.
in a movie theater was probably Frozen. Like
Oh.
it was
Classic.
Frozen, okay? To me, that shit was lit. To this day, that shit is still lit. I still put Frozen on and have a good ass time. So,
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's my favorite thing ever, but I like Frozen. It's cool. I'm not mad at it. You know, like Let It Go is a good song. I grew up loving Idina Menzel. You know, like between Wicked and Rent and all that, like you know, like she was kind of like the Broadway girly of the day.
Right.
So like I was already a fan, and I was like, oh, they got her playing a princess, and you know, you hear the song like Let It Go is they
So
did that shit. The shit goes crazy. And I love Olaf. But once again, it's not like I'm not gonna go out of my way to put it on. But if it's on, you know, like I'll like sit there and watch them cry about not being able to make snowmen with it. Yeah, sure. Like why not?
we had Let It Go by Frozen out, and we also right after I just made sure to look it up to make sure I wasn't tripping. We had Let It Go and we had Hot Nigga by Bobby Shmurda on the same playlist. That's how we grew up. That's how we grew up.
Hot and cold. That shit is crazy. Because you know, yeah, because I was about to say I was about to say you're not about to tell me that those two things came out at the same time. Like hell no.
It was just a year gap.
That shit is wow. Okay.
Nah.
Damn. Wait. Oh, okay. So, wow. Remind me what year Hot Nigga happened
This is
because I
I looked it up since 2014.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why I thought that was high school for me. I was leaving college when that happened. Like okay. Anyway, my brain's back. But wow. So like okay. So what what else was on this playlist that you had? Like these two songs right next
I'm
there.
I'm I'm glad you asked because oh
Please.
my god. It was mostly like rap I was hearing on the radio
Mm,
and like alt rock I was getting from like my siblings in California. Cause I grew up in PG County, so like
right.
radio shit with 95.5 is just rap and R&B. So
Yeah.
the first two albums I bought ever were three. I'll give you three. It was some EP from the neighborhood. I don't
Hmm.
remember which one. It had like a sky or like clouds in the front. Trap Soul by Bryson Tiller.
Uh-huh.
2014 Forest Hills by J. Cole. Those those were the first three things that I bought on my iPod when I was in middle school.
Wow. Okay, so now we're gonna swap because when I'm I've never said this like I've never said this before, but I'm about to age myself. I when iTunes was first a thing, the first three songs I bought on iTunes were Gasolina by Daddy Yankee,
Damn.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Gasolina by Daddy Yankee, um, Milkshakes by Khalees, and Flipside by Freeway. Those were yeah, those are the first three songs I ever bought. Like what like it might have been like the week iTunes came out or some shit like that. But the first CD I ever owned was Bow Wow's Beware a Dog.
I feel
That
like
was
this is good rotation. These are like songs that you can get like play out of. Like you can play
yeah,
the hell out of Milkshake. Like
easy.
easy.
Yeah, and it's funny because you know the first or like I think the first place I ever heard Milkshake. Wow, this is embarrassing. First place I ever heard Milkshake was in the trailer. You ever hear a date movie before?
A date movie? Explain.
So like there were they the Wayans brothers made the scary movies, and then two of the people who wrote on those movies, they kind of became known for making these like way less funny parody movies. So there was Date Movie, there was Epic Movie, there was one called Meet the Spartans that revolved around 300. They're all terrible garbage worst of all time movies. But the first time I ever heard Milkshake was in the trailer for Date Movie because they played it during some like bullshit love scene, and then of course like I heard it everywhere around like or like I lied. It wasn't the first place I ever heard it, but it was like I remember that being in the trailer
Do you
because
remember
I
like
definitely
it clicking for you like when you heard it? I feel like it did it for me. I feel like when I was younger and I heard Milkshake, I'm like, yo, this shit is vulgar, it's stupid. I don't want to hear this. It make me uncomfortable. But like
oh
2 years ago when I was like just going through shit and I heard, I'm like, yo, this is like This is like one of the greatest songs of all. Like it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I don't know, man. Like I mean, I love Khalees. I hope she's doing okay on like her. She like farms and shit now. Like good for Khalees. But but
Blueprint.
yeah, I love that song. Like those three songs are very close to my heart because of that. But I want to know about, you said The Neighborhood. It was Bryson Tiller and J. Cole.
Yeah.
That's a collection right there.
There
So
was like
like
a lot of other shit too,
yeah.
especially like in sixth grade. When I came to sixth grade, then people started using like, was it Dub Smash then? And like
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Dub
dance
Smash,
videos
yeah.
and shit. Cause I'm from the DMV, and if you don't know nothing about like PG County and DMV, it's like Atlanta Part Two. So
Right.
like it's like the same type shit of like dancing videos. So then I like got on like Young Thug in the sixth grade. He had that one song that was like a thief in the night, I'll do anything. Like that was like a huge dancing song. I think that was the first Young Thug song I heard when I was in sixth
Hmm.
grade. Um, what else? And mind you, this is all clean music. I was not
Right.
listening to like imagine being in a generation where you gotta listen to like Wet Dreams but clean. Like you might as well just not listen to the song.
Yeah.
But I was still like it was I don't know. It's
Yeah,
let me listen to Wet Dreams as long as it was clean.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious because like I mean, like, you can't hear 80% of the song. Like I can't even imagine the bleeps. But I'm like I was there. I was in the same boat growing up because like pretty much every album I had was clean up until I was in like high school. So
Yeah.
like so like the first versions of like the early Kanye albums, like all those songs were clean for me. The Outcast Speaker Box of Love Below, I heard that clean for the first time. Like it wouldn't be until years later when I would hear the explicit versions and be like, oh yeah, there's like bullshit in here, and I just never thought about it because that's just all I knew, like unless I was like with homies and like listening to, but it is what it is. Like that's very real,
I
like
still have that. Like if I try to go back to listen to like trap soul and I listen to a song, he said that? Because I was only listening to radio edits or clean version, so it don't
right.
make sense when I'm hearing it for the first time.
That's hilarious. So I mean, like now that, or actually no, before we get to this, as you get older and you start to refine your tastes a little bit and become your own person, I like to think of this as like a capital M movie, like the type of thing that really connected with you in an emotional, artistic, or spiritual way, like more than just like 90 minutes of pure entertainment.
Now?
Whenever, like one of the earliest example you can think of.
Oh, okay, I see. Um, damn. This is really exposing me as like a young person.
That's all
Like
good.
what I'm gonna say is gonna be so like it's gonna be so stupid and so corny. But I feel like the first thing that I listened to that was like, wow, like this like makes sense to me was like Brockhampton.
Oh wait. I'm talking about movies, not music yet. We're
Oh,
gonna get to music in a
thank
minute.
God, because I didn't want to have to explain that one.
No. We'll come back to it. Don't worry. Nah.
Movies? Okay. Actually, this is a better question actually. And less embarrassing. Still embarrassing, but less embarrassing. And that's because I only started thinking about movies like somewhat seriously since I started college.
Cool.
Um, Still embarrassing answer, but it was definitely all about Lily Chou-Chou.
Oh,
And like
okay.
obviously it was something that like I saw on the internet because I'm on the internet a lot and you if you're on the internet in the same spaces as I am, you see like the screen caps of like them sitting in the grass and like, oh, this is so aesthetic, this is so cute, whatever. But I feel like that movie really had an impact on me specifically because of like the themes of like uh finding spaces in online music communities, which is literally like that's how I grew up in like digicore communities and stuff like that. So seeing that
Right.
reflected to me in a movie was like, oh, this is really tight. It didn't really have much to do about like direction or cool shots or like color grading or anything. It was more about like the mental health crisis and the way it was displayed in regards
Hmm.
to online communities. And I guess it did have somewhat to do with that because it was like very early on in terms of online music community, so you get like a lot of vintage like chat rooms and forums and shit that don't exist now, and I thought that was cool, obviously, but it was mostly the themes where I was like, oh, this is familiar with my own lived experience.
Right. I mean, like, there's something to be said about seeing a movie that makes you feel seen. Like that like it's watching you back in a way. Like that's almost more important, especially like at that age, than stuff that's like, like noticing shots or whatever. Like, which is like obviously that's cool too. I have plenty of those, but like that's the stuff that's most impactful where it's like, like I feel represented by this, or oh, like this kind of gets at my lived experience in a way that like, oh, you can do that. Like I
Right.
don't know, like that's and I mean, like, I'm gonna be honest, I've never I mean, of course I've heard of All About Lily Choo-Choo, but I've never actually sat down and watched it because I haven't been able to find it. But
Really?
now, yeah, somehow, some way. But I mean, like, now I'm gonna watch it
Yeah, for
because
sure. I think it's a good one. It's like heavy as shit, and I wish I
mhm,
knew that when I first saw it. But it's
yeah,
so this is me warning you. But no,
that's
yeah,
fine.
it's definitely yeah,
Cool. I mean, like, I'll find it however I find it. But yeah, like, I'm in. I can like I'm at a point where I know I can handle most heavy things, but knowing that they're heavy before I go in will also help with that a lot.
yeah.
Help like a lot.
Yeah,
Cause
I
yeah,
think
I mean,
it's
like,
like that what's really like fucked up about that movie. The best thing I can compare it to is like the kind of relationship that the viewer has to this movie is the same that one might have like watching kids. Like it's not as
yeah,
self-destructive, but it's still watching children like fuck each other's lives up. And then like that's what's was like, oh, I'm not sure if I could be watching this.
right. And I mean, like, I remember, I mean, like, I saw kids for the first time when I was like 14, 15. Like it was maybe about a decade after it came out, but that was a really formative movie for me.
Right.
Like me and all my friends, like, and pretty much anything, anything. I almost called this nigga Larry June, Larry King, or not even Larry King. What's his name? What
It's
what what what? It's Larry. It's Larry something. I'm mad at myself. My fault. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to shout out the Real Notes Patreon one time. For as little as $5 a month, you get exclusive goodies like video of every interview, 2-day early access to every interview, an invite to the Real Notes Discord server, exclusive access to the Real Talk Movie Night archive, and early pre-sale links for all live events. If you want to give a little more, you get other exclusives like retro 60-second movie reviews and monthly 90-minute workshops with me, where we can discuss whatever creative questions or projects you might have going on. Head over to patreon.com/realnotes. That's REELNOTES to join right now. I repeat, all videos will only be available on the Patreon. Thanks for listening. Shout out to my patrons. Now let's get back to talking. I should know this. It's definitely not Larry King. um,
Larry Clark.
Larry Clark. There we go.
Larry
That.
Clark.
Thank you. Damn. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, so like anything like Larry Clark and Harmony Korine, I watched a lot of those. Like, and those are all like real
Yeah.
intense. Like Gummo's one of my favorite movies ever made. The shit is incredible. But like, I would never. Yeah, like I would want to warn somebody if they were gonna go watch Trash Humpers on their own. Like that's like not a movie you need to. You need some sort of warning before you go and
Right.
watch Trash Humpers, or like before you go and watch like Bully,
Yeah.
or Ken Park's even worse. You seen Ken Park?
No, I haven't, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like the movie starts with a suicide.
Yeah.
Like it's and like that's not even the craziest thing that happens in it. But anyway, uh Lily Choo Choo is on my list. I'm gonna watch it. It sounds great. I just haven't I just never got around to it. It's that's the beautiful thing about movies and music is that like no matter how much you've seen, there's always so much more
There's
that you don't even know exists,
yeah.
and it's just like a lifelong pursuit. You will never run out of material ever. You
This
know
is true, but at the same time, it'd be hot ass on streaming services sometimes.
that's
Like
real.
it gets really hard for like me and my partner when we're watching movies now because we've seen like everything that's like somewhat worth watching on the same streaming services that we have access to, and it's awful.
Yeah, and yeah, like it's not as easy to like go and dig through YouTube and dig through like
Mm.
torrents and forums and shit. Like you can, if you have a specific thing you're looking for, you can
That's
do
the
it. But
that's the thing. It's like, oh, I'm gonna spend an hour on Letterbox trying to decide what I'm gonna watch when it's services are so convenient because they curate for you, and that's the whole point. But
yeah, but yeah, but then you run out of whatever they have, and it's like where else can I go?
yeah,
It's a blessing and a curse for sure.
yeah.
But now let's do the same thing about music. So I mean, I'll just ask the question anyway. But when did music become capital M music for you? Not even in terms of you wanting to make music, but just like being fascinated by it. Put another way, tell me about your fascination with Brockhampton.
Okay, I'll start with that one. My fascination with Brockhampton was just so natural, and it's because I have older brothers. So I was listening to Odd Future since I was like, I lived in Kansas actually. I lived in Kansas for the first 7 years of my life, and I was
Wow.
listening to Odd Future when I was like that young, like when they were fresh, when I shouldn't have been listening to Odd Future.
Right.
Wow. So when Brockhampton dropped their shit, that was like the first thing that kind of like clicked in my mind as like oh, this is like our future. And the reason it became capital M music for me was because I was participating in a subculture and it felt like I was
Right.
doing something with my friends. Like we'd go outside and skateboard and listen to Brockhampton, or we'll go
Word.
to Brockhampton shows, or we'll buy Brockhampton merch. And it was just like that idea of participating in culture that made me reflect more on what was happening in the music and what it was drawing from and stuff like that. I think it was simply because I was growing older and I was like getting outside, but also because I had some kind of like reference point.
Yeah, that shit matters, like like once again, it's just about like being seen and finding community and that's important. So I mean like before I'm like what am I trying to say? What's your favorite saturation tape?
Hmm.
I know mine.
That's a hard one. I don't know. I want to say the first one, but
Hmm.
that's simply because of like the association with memories. I
Yeah.
don't think in terms of like Brockhampton in general, I'm choosing Iridescence, but they're gonna kill me. They're gonna take me out back and
See,
shoot me. But that's peak.
I appreciate you saying that because I think iridescence is underrated. Um,
100%.
but if I had to pick my favorite of the saturations is 3. Like that's the one where I feel like they kind of got it as a whole project, but 1 has my favorite song on it.
Which one is it?
Star.
Yes.
Kind of basic, but
No, but it's
I
like the song. It's the song.
yeah. Yeah, like I
No.
like I remember like I was working at DJ booth when it came out, and like I heard Star and I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Oh yeah, these kids got it. Like this is great. This is super fun." I kind of like I'm not going to lie, I kind of fell off the train after a while. I heard what was the album that came out after Iridescence? The one with the two dudes hugging on the
Oh
cover?
yeah, that was Ginger.
That was Ginger, right? Ginger had cool songs on it, but that's where I was like, I'm
That's
cool
where I
off of
fell
this for
off
now.
too. I don't
You
even
know,
remember.
like
I remember one song and it was the one. It was Sugar.
Sugar was cool.
Yeah.
There was one that was like it was like damn near like a Mike song. It was just like a loop and just like them all like rapping out of it. It was super dope. I can't remember what it was called, but like that shit kind of blew me. And then the rest was I was like, this is cool, whatever. Like
Yeah.
the first 3 or 4 songs are great. That one's cool, and then I'm like, okay. But shout out to Don McLennan if he's listening because he's very dope and I like the direction he's going in right now, and he was always my favorite, so shout out to Don, you
Shout
know.
out. Also, it's on Brockhampton. I feel like my one of my biggest first vocal influences was Bareface, and I think that's important to mention.
I could see that, yeah.
I think Bareface's vocal inflection and cadence and stuff rubbed off a lot on digicore people. Like a lot of people were invoking him, and I think that's like important too.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I don't want to waste this perfect segue you just gave me. So I do like there was one other question I wanted to ask, but I'll come back to it. So when did uh when did you start making music? Like when did you yeah, no, yeah, like bare origins, like when did you start making music?
Uh, the time, I mean, I played instruments like clarinet and shit, but like when I started recording music in middle school, seventh grade maybe, it was
Mm-hmm.
because my brother's a rapper. Cool Cup of Water. He don't really rap anymore, but his name's Cool Cup of Water,
Shout
and
out.
he was like my idol. He's in
Mm-hmm.
California. I live in California, and the first time I remember rapping was I went to California one summer. He had a little home studio. I went in, did a little verse, and they were like, "Yo, this is tight. What the hell?" So then, as soon as I got back from California, my dad had like sent me like this MXL 990 mic, and my mom bought me Logic, and that was I still use the mic. It's the same mic. It's the
Oh man.
really bad, but I still use the mic. And yeah, that's when I started, and that was like the reason I started. It was when I first like started, I was kind of trying to do stuff that he was doing, which I don't really know how to explain. I guess I could say it was like a mixture of Isaiah Rashad kind of stuff, but it was also a little industrial.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started just mimicking Earl Sweatshirt and Mike for like years. And that's kind of just what that's where I was stuck at before I started singing.
I mean, like, and once again, like everybody's got to start somewhere. Like having, and like it's funny you bring up Mike and Tebe already because, like, I was just listening to Sketches of Death like just before we hopped on the call, and there's like the first little bit of that song is a Mike reference. It's from it's from Zaza from All Zaza. It's the stuck in the midst of it all. Like I know what time you're on.
Exactly.
Like, but so like you said you were in middle school when you started like recording music for real.
Yeah.
So I mean, when did you know? When did you know that music was going to become more than just a hobby for you, and when you were going to like actively pursue music?
That wasn't until high school. Um, I had made this tape thing with Aria. I don't know if you know Ria. He also produced my song Zen, following
Mm-hmm.
my song. We went to high school together actually. He was
Oh,
like
cool.
he's like a very incredibly talented. He was like the first chair trumpet for our band. He right now he goes to college for trumpet and he's in like an overseas orchestra and so, like he's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Um he produced like this first tape I had called Kitchen of Repercussions, and that was like the first time I'm like, okay, maybe it's something like maybe this is gonna go somewhere. But I didn't really start locking in until I heard "Bad Girls Club" by Eric DOA. That was which is hilarious. That was the song that I'm like. I remember listening. I'm like, yo, how is this nigga singing like this? And like it had like a very nice pop rap thing that was like felt very fresh and unique. And I
Mm-hmm.
never tried to sing in my songs before then, even though I had like been in choir for like 5 years. I never thought to like sing a song. So that was the first thing that I listened to that was like, maybe I should try this. And as soon as I started singing, it became so much more fun and felt like I was doing something um that was a lot more substantial because I don't think when I was rapping then I was any good. I think I was like rapping and the writing was okay, but the rapping wasn't any good. But since I had
Mm-hmm.
more experience singing, that kind of informed how I could rap more and use more like pitch and intonation in my singing because I was mimicking Earl and he doesn't really do that.
Yeah, not
It
really.
just didn't work with them. Like it didn't fit me what I was doing. So once I learned how to sing, I could kind of funnel that back into it. But that was when I like started taking it serious, and that was mostly because like quarantine and not having anything to do. Like it would be Zoom class, and they'd still make us put our cameras on because I went to a Catholic school and you have to be in
Right.
uniform, so you still be on the cameras on. But I would still be on that bitch recording with the camera on. I would just be going like I would be acting like I'm about to blow my nose or about to eat something and do this and do a punch in. Like you just see this on the screen,
Wow.
I'm doing punch ins. So, so that's
That's
when I started
hard.
taking things seriously.
Wow. Okay, I mean, like, that's like, props to you. That's crazy. I love, like, that's determination. You can't buy that shit. So was all of this before or after you linked up with No Heart?
This is before. That's like that's good because like No Heart, all those people. So okay, this is that shit was clicky. Like the internet niggas and the digicore niggas was clicky. Before like
Right.
they would even like message you, you could message a nigga with like who got like 4,000 followers on SoundCloud, and like they can drop and they do like 20K a week. You can message them and they won't respond because like that's hot shit in terms of that scene, especially back then. So
Right.
you had to prove yourself. Like you had to make a good ass song before, and like it could has to hit people before people
Right.
start fucking with you. And that's how that went. I had like made that as early song called GOMD. It was produced by Ria too, and
No affiliation to J. Cole?
no affiliation.
I'm playing, I'm playing, I'm playing. I'm playing.
And what happened? That song did good because there's this nigga. Oh my god, I don't even remember his name, but he was a Nova gang, and they kicked his ass out because he was a transphobe and he had like a whole crash out where he. Do you know about this?
No, I don't.
Okay, it came back to me. His name was Cody Love, and he had said something about like oh, da 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 about trans people, whatever. And then 3 hours, it was up on the story for 3 hours, and then 3 hours later, he was like, "Oh my god, I got hacked." But then niggas found out like he was just lying, like it wasn't true. So then
Mm-mm.
he got kicked out of Nova Gang. But um, he Nova Gang and him used to run these things on Twitch where they would take people's songs, kind of like what they do now, like with like song wars type shit. Except nobody was they just like get on a stream and play a song.
Right.
And I sent GOMD one day and they was fucking with it, and that's how like all of the people that you know now that were involved in the scene like found out about. Like I met Draft, who was like the leader of No Heart, and through them I met like Funeral, Kamo, uh I met, and then I had did another one of these a couple months later for Masked Gorilla, where I had sent
Wow.
another early song. It was called Al Capone, and I sent that one. And Glaive was on that one. He was doing like a collab stream with Mascarilla. And that's how Glaive started following me and Eric DOA started. And that's how I met like all of those people.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, because I know right before Al Capone happened, Vices happened. And I was, like I was just re-listening to Vices not too long ago and just like this is like like at this point you're very much like this is like 2020 2021
Yeah.
ish, right? So like like at this point you're not making Mike and Earl music anymore. Like
No. This is like,
you
but it's not too far off from it. It's only like at
right,
least like half a year.
right.
Like it's very fresh. I don't remember how I met Juno though, which is like really weird because we were like,
Hmm.
he was one of the first close friends. Oh, we skipped the whole arc. There was a collective called Four Seasons,
Right.
and the leader was a terrible person, and that's why I just disbanded. They didn't make music. They were just like a they weren't even like a manager A&R. They're just one of our friends, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna be with the It's like whatever. But Four Season was me, Juno, Veo, who's like doing their own thing now and like popping, and Ria and this other guy, I don't remember his name, and this person named Susie, who's actually like a huge they're like a huge I don't know what to call it, like mystic, like tarot person. and they're
Uh-huh.
like Twitter famous, and they got like 100,000 followers because they do like readings and talk about like it's crazy. It's
I'm
actually
I might know who you're talking about, which is funny. Yeah.
it's very crazy. They used to like make Hyperpop and be in our collective. And that's how I met like Juno and all. And I think that started because of another Discord server. So it's constantly just like joining a server, talking to one person, meeting someone from them, forming little collectives, meeting other people from that. And it's like this constant like cycle of meeting new people.
Right. Yeah, like that's like the beautiful and scary thing about a service like Discord, because like you really will like and it's like, and like I remember when Discord was only being used for gaming stuff. So like me and all my homies who were like all gamers, we formed a server like 10 years ago when we graduated from college. And then eventually I started seeing like music communities pop up in there when I'm like getting into my writing shit. So I'm just like, "Oh, cool." So I start like joining up and like I meet people in there. And just seeing Discord evolve into this thing that like that used to be how we would treat I don't I don't know, just like any like older social media service, or like or in like AIM chat rooms or whatever, and now it's just like Discord, and it's like it's become this great unifier for like people of all different ages. Like I know people who are in their 40s and 50s who use it. I know
Right.
people who are, like your age and a bit younger who use it, like and then like people like I don't know, just like everybody uses it now, and it's really been this like gigantic incubator for community in ways that I didn't think it would be 10 years ago, when it felt like more niche, and now it's just like I mean like it's like made up of like a billion. That's the whole point. It's made up of a billion different niches, and everybody just kind of gets in where they fit in.
It's
um
crazy.
yeah, and like I mean like how long have you been, or actually before I even ask that, like, just like digicore and hyperpop generally is like, I've always been interested with how so many of y'all in that scene kind of came from rap, and then like and then like formed around this. Like we got like you, like Jane Remover kind of started out in that way as
Right.
well. Like and like they kind of have like and as somebody who didn't like grow up in the scene but only like knows like I know what I know. I'm not gonna sit here and talk like I'm an expert, but like everyone has a different definition of what it means, how it sounds, like where it goes. Like I can't tell you how many conversations I've seen where people like assume it's dead. Like it's like dead one week, and then it's thriving the next week, and then Revenge Seekers comes out, and what, like it's just like nobody can make heads or tails of where it is at the moment. And that's like, like as somebody coming at this from an outsider perspective, it's just like fun for me because it feels like the Wild West, and that's what makes stuff like that like attractive, because like y'all are still like building this shit in real time.
Right.
So do I have a question to ask here? Yeah, I mean like I guess like where would when did you first know that you were like a proper component of this shit? Like when did it feel like you were like on some shit and like a part of it, you know?
SoundCloud playlist. When
Yeah.
I got it was that's how I met Billy Bugara, one of my dearest friends. When she reached out to me, I was like, "Yo, do you want to be the cover of the playlist?" That's when I was like, "Oh shit! Like
Got
maybe
it.
maybe niggas are tapped in." It was just then, cause like I was even though I was there like pretty early, I was not there as early as people like date digicore back to like 2020, 2021. That shit has its roots in like 2018 because
Mm,
these people were playing video games. Like the people who really started that shit were playing video games with each other before like these niggas were listening to like doo-wop Kane and like it was very
yeah.
much earlier than people thought it was. So even then when I started popping up, I felt like, oh, this isn't gonna go any kind of way for me because I'm kind of late in this, even though it wasn't late whatsoever. And we're getting like people from that scene who are popping up like a year ago from now and are starting to thrive. But like
Yeah.
back then, it always felt like oh, this thing kind of feels like it's going to be dated, and nobody really knew what was gonna happen with any of it. And we're all
Hmm.
growing up, and entering into real adult life, so everyone's kind of just like, I don't know. But it was definitely like that playlist cover, and that was after Zen came out. Cause yeah, after I made that song, I was like, okay, this is like music is something I should probably like tap into as not
Right.
just like, cause I honestly think up until then, the main drive was like friendship, and that once that song came, I was like, okay, maybe I should not just be doing this to be in community with people, but to express myself in ways that can like involve or happen outside of that, which is like what's mostly happened now. I'm not really in these communities the same way I was before. I'm still like
Yeah.
friends with like Kuru's one of my best friends still, where I'm still friends with Jane. 4CF is one of my best friends in the entire world, and I didn't meet them until like 2023 maybe. So it's like it's not it doesn't have the same involvement, and I think that's simply because I'm 21 now.
Yeah.
It's nice seeing that there are kids who are like doing the exact same shit that like I was doing and having that exact same experience. Like the first person who comes to my mind is Zayle. Like he's still in college.
Hey.
I mean, he's still in high school and he's doing the same shit. And he's posting shit, and I'm on his story, and like I've been seeing him post stuff that I would post when I was like that age and making music. And it's like, oh, it's so cute. Like you're doing it's kind of like the same thing, seeing it really come into fruition even more. It's really cool.
That's beautiful. Yeah, yeah, like, and it's crazy that you said you're 21, right?
Yeah.
Like you're 21 and you're already experiencing that. Like it's like, like I'm 33 and I feel like I just started experiencing like what you're talking about maybe over the course of the last like maybe like 3, 4 years, and like it's really cool to it's really cool to be at a point where like you're 21 and you've already made an impact to the point where somebody's like, yo, like I look up to you, like because like you still have so far to go. And like even like even just thinking about like the fact that like you guys are establishing adult lives and you're in school, like going back to like the Odd Future Brockhampton stuff, like you look at that, and like a big part of the reason why they all split was because like they just grew up, and like unfortunately that just happens when
Exactly.
you get older, like you just kind of drift apart. Like I mean, like obviously there's other like stuff that we may or may not know about that happened with all of them. There's a lot of drama, especially when you're like that famous and there's like money being exchanged. But like, just like as, I mean, like I can like, like all, like things started to feel different once friends started to move away. And once like school started to end, and like you come home and there aren't as many people that you used to know, it's like
Right.
everyone's really being siloed off into their own little islands.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
I also like wanted to briefly before we move on, I want to talk about when you were talking about like people argue about like what it is and stuff.
please, yeah,
I think that's like good and like what it was in essence because everyone came from different musical backgrounds. And a lot of it
right,
people try to be like, "Oh, everyone was making rap before this." No. The reason that it even had like the hyperpop elements is because so many of these kids were like EDM freaks and like they only listened to like Skrillex and shit. And they knew nothing
that
about rap.
too,
Like their
that
introduction to
too,
rap music was like Summers and like Slay World. They're, like
right,
so like so that's why it worked because there were
right,
producers who were listening to like bubblegum based shit and it was
yeah.
rappers who like me who were listening to Earl Sweatshirt. So
Right. And then yeah, people like the person who was kind of at the intersection there for me was Danny Brown.
yeah,
Because like Danny Brown was working with like Purity Ring back in the day and shit, and like he was like obviously he wasn't the only rapper who was on that type of time, but he was one. Like I mean, like he was one when I was like kind of still in my formative years that I heard, like I would hear an album like Old, or even stuff like Triple X and be like, wow, like you can do that, you can like rap over that type of shit, and like people aren't gonna look at, I mean, people looked at Danny Brown weird for years until I feel like the last like couple of years when people were really like, oh yeah, Danny Brown's like that,
even
like that, and
still though, it's so weird. Like I see people who are
yeah,
like, "What do you mean Danny Brown's on?" I'm like, "Nigga, do you know who Danny Brown is?" Like being on a
like
Jane Remover album is the most Danny Brown shit that Danny Brown could do. Like,
right.
it's so wild.
like that's his whole and just like seeing the moment he's been having with like him showing up at like Frost children shows.
Mm.
I'm just like yeah, he's like he really cares. Like
Yeah.
he's super tapped in with all that stuff. But yeah, I mean like that's a really good point, just the fact that like I kind of yeah, like the last thing I want to do is generalize. Like there's like of course all like it's all in the music. Like like even hearing like even going back to you hearing something like Cherry Blossom Blooms, there's maybe about 7 different directions that I could like if I didn't know who you were, I could just assume like, oh, you grew up listening to a lot of like shoegaze, or like, oh, you grew up listening to like Skrillex and Avicii or whatever, and or oh, you grew up listening to Mike or Pink Sifu like when Ensley dropped or what, like stuff like that. It's like there's no that's part of what makes it exciting and interesting to me, is that like the footing, it's not even that the footing's unstable, it's that the foot's in 6 different places at once, and all 6 of those places are sturdy,
Right.
and that in and of itself is its own brand of chaos.
Right. And that
Like
comes
that's
from
cool to me.
community. And that comes
Right.
from community because it comes from being close enough with
Right.
people that you allow them to push you into different directions that you didn't imagine before.
Facts. And I mean like now that we're here, because I mean I don't know if you had made any formal projects before this one, but I know Cherry Blossom Blooms was kind of like a very like, this is not, if not an album, it's only 3 songs, but like this is like a body of work in a way that's not just like a single. So, talk to me a bit about putting Cherry Blossom together
Yeah,
and what it means to you, and looking back on it now, because it's been 4 years, son.
it's
Like,
crazy. I know that was yesterday, I think. It was the 4 year like anniversary of it,
oh
which
no
is
shit,
wild.
crazy,
Yeah, it
wow,
was. I got an email from DistroKid. I was like, "Hey, it's been 4 years. It's lit."
incredible.
But the cherry, like the it started from I knew I wanted to. I had the title before anything, and it was purposeful because I had like really bad seasonal depression. So like coming out of from winter into spring was like the concept of cherry blossom blooms, and it's
Mm-hmm.
also a very regional use of phrase because the cherry blossoms in DC are something that I go with my family to see every year. So
Oh.
that's kind of what I wanted to do. It's very like nodding to my mom because that's like her favorite thing to do in the world is go see the cherry blossoms. So that's like the cover of Talk to Me on the SoundCloud single is a picture of me in the window in my mom's car taking pictures of seeing the cherry blossoms in DC. Like it's very much rooted in like
Oh.
actual experience. But
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the picture right now and I see you holding the phone camera in the rear view. That's adorable. I love it.
yeah, it was
So nice.
about that whole project was like a lot. I think that was the first time I like actually reflected personally in how and interrogated how I could put that into music. And I was thinking
Mm.
about that too yesterday when I was like getting that email and like thinking about what it meant. I think the main producer on it was Coleslaw. Um, I actually don't know where he is now. He was from, I want to say Arkansas, and
Mm-hmm.
had became friends through a server or something, and we became really close. I think he was my closest friend at the time, so making the project was quite easy. Uh, and the songs were more topical than anything I had made before. Love Letters was probably the most topical song I've made, like in general, because that was about like the person I was dating and thinking about like, oh, when I go to college, is this gonna crash down and fuck up? Which it did, which is kind of crazy. Which I look back
Yeah.
and I'm like, the fact that I had like we're thinking about that thing before like even senior. This is before senior year. I don't know if this was before junior year. It could have been. But the fact that I was thinking about that so early and it still kind of went that way is ridiculous in itself. And I think that
Yeah.
really says a lot about the things I was thinking about and how I was trying to put it into the songs.
Yeah.
Um, Scatterbrained was, I think, the only song prod Hollow on that entire. That was the first track that I worked with on Hollow, and I think I met Hollow through Juno, and that came about and that was like the first track I had that had a really large. That was like very cinematic. That was, and that comes with working with a project that's not a single. And it wasn't like a new experience because I did make a project I mentioned earlier called Kitchen of Repercussions. I don't know if it's still on the internet. You can tell me if it is. I don't know if it's still on the internet, but it was like experimental rap. I was listening to a lot of Mike and you can hear it.
Oh
So,
yeah, that's not on the internet no more.
oh, it's not?
I don't think so. I wasn't able
Really?
to find it.
That's crazy. Maybe I'll, oh, I found it. It's on Bandcamp.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp. That's
Cool.
crazy. People are gonna hear that and be like, "What the fuck?" Okay. That was October 2020 is when I put it on Bandcamp, but I'm
Wow.
pretty sure it came out way before. Like it happened before then on SoundCloud.
Right. Because
But I was.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say I remember when you got interviewed for finals that I think that's the project that you told people to go discover, right?
That yeah, that
Yeah.
was yeah, and I think that's kind of what informed how I made Cherry Blossom Blooms because I that was when I realized like, oh, a project means a different thing than a single because
Right.
digicore is very singles driven at the moment. Nobody was really doing projects, so that was like, okay, I can put a funny kind of spin on this. I actually made Kitchen of Repercussions in one day, which is
Wow.
which is I know I cannot do anything like that now, which is quite wonderful. But but yeah, Cherry Blossom Blooms meant a lot for a lot of reasons. And I still feel like deep down it's still I have a very specific feeling for it that I don't have for other stuff. Like it means
Mhm.
something to me. Even though I'm like listening to it and can count the flaws and name the flaws and like talk about how silly it is because I was a lot younger and it's like why was I doing this kind of weird introspection and trying to put words and feelings together at this young age. It's like hard to kind of not beat myself up about that because I was
Right.
so much younger, but it's still like something I look back to and I'm very happy that it happened because I think that was like opened up world building in general for music for me.
And then like after that project happens, you do go to college and you're in college right now, literally in a dorm room. If y'all can see it, if you're a patron, you can see it. But if not, you just gotta use your imagination. If you so I mean, like you get to school, you where does two things? Where does the harp come in, and when do you decide that you want to write about music?
Okay. Harp easier to answer. Last semester I just started. And it
Hmm.
comes in because of a larger issue I've had with performance, reception, and self perception. Like is the easiest way to say it. Because like I think that like what digicore did to me as a person was very like complicated because I was going to an all boys Catholic school, like not being the person I was and
Right.
not really feeling like anybody like thought I was some sort of outstanding person. Like I felt like a fly on the wall a lot of the times. And I feel like getting attention from music kind of like suck those things together. It's like, okay, people think I'm good and cool and awesome because of my music. So I need to keep doing this and doing a good job at it. That is not a good way to think about music, making art in general, or putting it out. And my decision to pick up harp was like me thinking this is something that I can like put artistic energy into and get artistic energy back that people don't have to see and people don't have to understand. It's just like it's a very much more intimate relationship that doesn't involve listeners or fans or even like friends because people who plays the harp. So like my
Right.
friends can come and be like, "Oh, that was good," but they don't really know other than like my teacher and me. So it's just like the fact that it's a lot more of an intimate action that kind of takes away my own like self-worth and value and stuff like that away from the creating process, which I think is what ultimately stunted a lot of like my output when I became a college student, because at that time when I'm becoming like it was a decision that I made, but it was still a hard decision when I have like a lot of my friends at the time decided to like, okay, I'm gonna make this music my career. This is gonna be my life. And I decided not to do that. And although that was a decision I made and that I was proud of making, and I still am, it still kind of takes a toll on you when you're like seeing people live a life that's like kind of alternative and still really fucking cool that you know that you're like, I can't do this. So that's
Right.
kind of how um slowing down with like music came, because once I got to college, I started living a life that I wasn't living at all before. Because I mean, I was just in my room all day, so it felt like trying to rewire my body makeup and how I interact with the world and how I allow people to perceive me. What was the second question?
No, we can forget the second question for now because
Yeah,
I mean we can come back to it,
yeah.
but I'm curious because like what year are you in? You in your junior year?
I'm a junior. Yes.
So like you've been in school for like 2 almost 3 full years at this point,
Yeah.
and you've kind of done this 180 in terms of just being like the type of person that you are like in the world. Like do you feel like do you feel like you'd eventually want to pursue what your people in your community had, or are you fine where you're at now and just kind of building something that's more insular?
Uh, I think I will. I think the biggest thing is like I don't have what it takes to give it my all, and that makes me feel like I shouldn't be doing it whatsoever. And that's like the biggest mental block I have right now.
Right.
I know like the reason I was able to build a fan base and all that stuff was because I was like promoting and being like and curating and all that stuff. But I'm living so much life now that if doing that doesn't feel like true to myself,
Hmm.
I have to kind of just retreat in general and just pop out whenever, which is one
Yeah.
I like. I don't know. So I think one day it will. I don't think it's going to be like an alternative. Like I don't think it's going to be my life, and I
Right.
hope that it will still reach people the same way, even if it's not like something that I'm. This is like locked in, and my goal in life is to be like an academic and do like go get a PhD and stuff. But I think I would like to have like my music as a kind of side of that. Like I want my music to reflect that as well, to the point where these
Right.
are both mutual. Not now. It's not possible now because I'm a student and I have a job and I do this and this and this and this. But once I feel like my job is just to just learn, it would be a lot more easier for me to produce artistically.
Right. Because because like you put out House and Sketches of Death like barely even a month ago,
Right.
and like those, I mean, like a those songs are really good. B, like you like go and look at you go and look at just like your Spotify page real quick. You still got 10,000 monthlies,
Yeah.
which
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 is
which
like
which is
really, which is really nice. To
yeah,
know.
like
It's not, yeah.
right. So I mean, like people still care. People are still even if people aren't like actively looking for new stuff, they're connecting with you. You have a song here that has over 500,000 plays. Like that's not nothing,
And that's like
So
a
like
very also very recent thing, which I think is wonderful that like
right,
that only really started hitting for people last year, which I think
right.
is like the beauty of streaming and the beauty of music.
Yeah, it's and yeah, like once again, like we all know that's a double-edged sword,
Or
but
the
like but you find stuff like that and then it sticks with you and it becomes a part of the fabric like you're a part of the fabric of people's lives.
right.
And this is all just from stuff that you did while you were still finding yourself. And I mean like you're still finding yourself and still establishing a lot. But like that's not nothing, like
Right.
that's like I don't think that's the type of thing that's just gonna go away,
Yeah.
which is like you're really fortunate because of that.
Yeah.
And And then you're coming at it from this completely different perspective now as an, I guess, aspiring, for lack of a better word, music journalist. So
Yeah.
like, when did you decide that? That was the second question. When did you first decide you wanted to start like writing about music and being a critic and journalist and shit?
I don't even think I like. It was we okay. It's very complicated because I feel like I struggled more for that than I did with music, which I feel like it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be the way it is. I feel like music, I just did it and like the success kind of happened. But for music journalism, I was fucking clawing at that shit to the point where my friends would be like, "Damn, Ray, like you're like, like you're really trying to do this." But uh, I don't think it was any kind of like specific thing. I I think I just woke up one day and it was just like, I'm gonna like just write about this. It was the first music journalism stuff I did was for this metal blog called Noob Happy. It was like a queer metal blog space. And I really wanted to be there because I wanted to be with people who were thinking about music. Because like even with I guess I can eventually tie this in, but even with like the digicore spaces stuff, I never really like talked about music. And I think that's another thing that kind of prevents me from putting music out now is that I talk too much about it and I think too much about it. But before
Mm,
that, I was not like I don't know. I feel like when with music journalists, we always have to think like, what is the artist trying to do? What are they doing? How does it land? And stuff like that. I was not thinking that as a musician when I was a teenager. I was just doing it. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do this for this song. It just came out as like a reflection, a very kind of like I'm grappling with this in my own identity. You're gonna hear it in this song, and this however it comes out is however it comes out.
right.
So I think that's done in me, but also that was like the reason why I wanted to, because once I got into college and a lot of people are dropping like their traditional digicore elements or whatever and start taking new directions, I began reflecting on my own music and it's like, why am I doing this? What do I want to be doing? And I felt like the natural thing to go from point A to B was to write about music and to interrogate what other people were doing and how they were getting to those conclusions to see what they were thinking. So I think that it was very connected in terms of like my own musical production, but it was
Mm-hmm.
also just liking writing and wanting to seeing myself as like an academic in the future and wanting to do something immediate that could bolster my skills.
Right. Yeah, and you know, like you, and just like looking at all the stuff, looking at all the stuff you've written about, like the thing that I always come back to, and I think you like told me about this when we talked about it, the um the harkening critters piece, like the fact that like, so like you wrote about this, like it's a compilation, you wrote a review of a compilation of field recordings from animals around the world, which is like super duper dope. Like I love that, like I love that you did that. You reviewed the Saw Baby album for Pitchfork as well. You wrote about Claire Rousey for Resident Advisor. You've interviewed Mavi for Tone Glow. You just wrote about Cortisa Starr. Like it just came out today, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Which like shout out to Corteza. I think she's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Even if the album's not, even if the EP's not like, I basically feel the way you felt about it. But I think she's a star.
for sure. Yeah.
Like right place, right time. She's a star.
Yeah,
But you know, like, but just like I say that to say that those are all very different kinds of music that you're covering, and you have this command already that I think has been like informed, and it's been informed by and is being channeled through all the different interests you had as a musician, and how all the stuff that kind of came from your experiences with metal and rap and R&B and digicore and indie rock, like it's all there. You know, like I think especially now in the in an era where the relationship between being a journalist and being a musician and being a creator and an influencer. Like it's all so muddy.
Mm.
Like everyone's at least like so few people are just one thing anymore, whether it's out of necessity or just like just the environment we live in. But like you may not have been thinking about that consciously, but it's all a part of your framework and it's just in there because of how varied your taste was. So it makes perfect sense that you would want to, like you're kind of at this crossroads where it's like I'm in college and I don't know where exactly I want to end up, but I know that I want to try a few different things. And I'm like I mean, you said you want to be in academia in some way, so you have that idea, but like all of that, like all of this, like it all feeds back into the center of like who you are as a person and like the wanderlust that's in there and just like all these different things that you're fascinated by and wanting to express that. Sometimes you want to express it through music, sometimes it's through writing, sometimes it's through playing the harp, sometimes it's through, maybe seeing another younger digicore artist kind of looking at your work and being like, "Hey, this is crazy," and like you being 21 and having that happen. Like, I don't know. I think you're in a really unique and interesting spot because of that, because like some people look up to you, but you're also still very much in the process of molding yourself, which I think all of us really are. Like I feel like I am, like as long as I've been here, I feel like there's still things that I want to I feel like I still have a lot to prove, even if it's just to me. So, going through that and seeing you go through that and taking in your work and being a fan of it the way I am is I just think that's really fascinating and I'm happy and proud of you. Like
Thank you so much. No, it is,
yeah,
no, it is a lot, and it's harder to even like, I don't know. It's hard to even like some days I forget that I'm a musician or like which
right.
is like even some days it's like it makes sense to forget that people listen to you, but it's a whole nother thing to forget that you're a musician. And I think that's like interesting to me because I'm always looking ahead and behind, which but instead of behind, which is kind of a bad thing sometimes, I think.
Mhm.
Especially with writing. Writing is much more competitive to me than like it kind of replaced it. I was just talking to my friends the other day. I'm like, Loki, I hate this shit now. Like, I gotta start something else. But I I love to write, and I think more than like just writing about music has it's more like the tone glow kind of extended universe specifically, like really shaped like at the way I think about art in general. I
Yeah,
think that's also like a space that got me back into making music. Not that they listen to my music, because if you know anybody in Tonga, they would not fucking listen to Raegun. They they are listening to field recordings and they are listening to walls of noise. But I think
right,
the fact that there's a community that's dedicated to like alternative forms of music and how dedicated those people are like made me think about who is the person behind the art and what is the intention behind the art. I think before I kind of like questioned myself and like seeing people dedicate their entire being and like being like, I'm not gonna go to college, I'm gonna stay home and I'm gonna grind at music was like I said, I thought it was one or the other. And like being in tone and being able to explore these artists that I wouldn't have like found out about otherwise really helped me be comfortable making music and putting it out again and how interrogating like what I'm trying to say and understanding that whatever comes out of it is simply where I'm at right now.
right,
And I think that's like important that people need, especially artists, need to be remembered when they're like trying to play some sort of long game and to think that they're like, this is my goal. My goal is being able to reach fans and have enough money to do XYZ when sometimes the goal needs to just be like expressing yourself in the with the resources that you have. So I
right.
think that's kind of what focusing specifically on experimental music did for me. And I think being in conversation with people who are much older than me about music also kind of democratized music for me in a sense that like I don't have to put the best damn thing out. I don't have to make the best damn song. I can just do something and we'll go from there. And I think
Right.
that's a good way to move forward.
Yeah, you're already learning to give yourself grace and not push yourself to the point where you're 24, 25, 26, and burnt out.
Yeah.
Because we all have stories, we all know people, like, and I don't know, like it's like it's important that you've recognized that so young. Like just like being like a working professional, but also like still a student is such a like I've been there. It's such a hard position to be in because it's just like so many different responsibilities and like having a life on top of that is difficult. It's really not easy. And yeah, like before I even forget, like shout out to JMK, Joshua and like the whole Tone Glow. Like I've been a fan of I've been
Yeah.
a fan of y'all shit for a while.
Joshua, he has done so
Yeah.
much for my mental and my like my formation as like a young adult, I think.
Mhm.
More than he would probably think. I don't know, because
Right.
I feel like the essence of like Tone Glow and writing for Tone Glow was like nobody gave a fuck if what I was putting out was good. They just wanted to see what I had to say. And I think translating that into music is like it's amazing. And I still get like uh kind of bothered when I have to write when I write for like other publications because there's like a there's often a barrier of like, okay, you have to be saying things this way and you gotta be saying it the right way and it has to be good enough and all that stuff. But having like Joshua in my corner was like very very helpful because I always come back to the thought that people care about what I have to say. And as long as
Mhm.
I have something to say, and as long as I'm passionate about something, which I think I'll be passionate until I die, that like I can make something out of something. And I think that's
Yeah.
like something that people should internalize before they give up on something that they're interested in.
Yeah, like not letting the passion die is the most important thing. Because like you had even mentioned before, just talking with your homie about being in a position where like you're writing, and it's like, oh, I hate this now, and it's like because like it's a job,
Yeah.
like you definitely rub up against that because this is like a thing that you're passionate about, but you also need to do it to like make some money, or at least like if you're in the position like several of us are, where you need to do it to make some money, you're not just doing it for fun. It's
Yes.
like you gotta really push through some shit to like make sure it, and like that creates a love-hate relationship
Yeah.
with it. But like when you find people who are willing to invest time and effort into making sure that you're investing time and effort into yourself and the things you love, like that shit is priceless,
Yeah.
and it's gonna fall, and it's gonna push you wherever, forever, you know.
Yeah.
um Man, yeah, like just thinking about the position you're in as an aspiring academic who also does music sometimes and occasionally writes about music and is like still very passionate about all of this stuff. Like, I don't even know what question I want to ask. Yeah, yeah, I do know. Like, how difficult? Yeah, like before we formally wrap this up, how difficult is it to juggle all this stuff while also being a student, while also having a partner and just like living in life, you know?
Whew, that shit is hard. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's brutal. I feel like I literally every piece I've written in the past like 7 months, when it's done, I'm like, I go on my private Twitter account. I'm like, I'm never writing again, and then I run back to the passion. But like, just having to juggle it, all of it is crazy because it's like all of these things could be entire livelihoods, and I'm like deciding not to do that. But that's an issue in itself because then I start running out of time. But I think the passion outweighs everything, and I just love being in so many different spaces, doing so many different things. I feel like right now I'm mostly focused on, which is like the first time in a while where I'm mostly focused on like club work. Like I've been doing a lot of organizing. I'm wearing a PSL shirt right now. Shout out
Hey,
PSL.
incredible,
And
incredible.
also I'm the what's it called? I'm my school's BSU co-president. I
Let's
do
go.
SJP work. We were just there in that bitch last night. So
See.
it's nice to have things that like are important to you and to find
Hmm.
time for things. There's so much time. It's just like some things just aren't possible because of we have distractions now that they didn't have. Like there are albums. Have you ever listened to an album and you're like, nobody could make this shit now because we have too many distractions.
Yeah.
Niggas would not make On the Corner by Miles Davis right now because we got
Yeah.
Instagram Reels. And like
Yeah, no, if Miles Davis had a cell phone, we wouldn't have gotten like 80% of his work done.
and
Guaranteed.
that's what keeps me going. Because when I wake up and I get into the habit of scrolling, I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna get through the day and not hate myself if I don't put this shit down. And I think it's all about like using my time in ways that, and like there are ways. I've also became really big on pulling out of responsibilities that I know I can get away with. Because before I would feel really bad setting people like or like letting go of things that I've like committed to. But now
Hmm.
I don't really care as much if something I have to do or like there's homework I gotta do, but then I gotta write this pitchfork review. I don't know. I need the $200 and I can take a C sometimes. So
Right.
it's all about like being human enough to do things to be passionate and let that run wild, but also to know when to like pull back from stuff. But all that to say, I'm still very much like academia, academics are like that's my number one thing. That's what I'm um mostly proud of. Being an African
Hmm.
studies major.
I'm sorry, being a what major?
Africana studies.
Hey, shout out. That's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but you know, like between that and the PSL and the BSU stuff, like that's like you're on. Yeah, no, you're on the right path. Like those are all the best. In my opinion, those are like the best things you could be doing, like as a college student right now. And just like finding time for music and other stuff is like you're you're executing the balance. You're making it happen somehow. It's not easy, but
We lose
you
sleep
know
sometimes.
hey, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no, like you can't do this and not be used to losing sleep. Like it has to happen.
That's why like music is a responsibility you can pull out of a lot of the times. But I'm about to
Right.
get my ass in trouble though, because I'm working on a tape with someone, and every day I
Hey,
see more and more beats stack up on the tape, and less of my vocals are getting put on that. So,
you got your work cut out for you. Nah,
it's rough.
you're gonna make it happen though. It'll you're gonna look back on this time and laugh about it. I promise.
Mhm, for sure.
Um, this has been so great. But to formally wrap it, Ray, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
Ah, my life was a movie. What would it be about? It would be about love in like the most banal ways. You know, I'm very religious. I'm sick. And I feel like the one thing I think about every day is like being grateful and loving like things that I wouldn't recognize if I wasn't trying to be intentional about it. So I
Hmm.
think if I was a movie, it would be like a short of like just random shit, and it would be like back to back, like dovetailed shots of like just random shit. Because I really do find like a lot of power in like s- spending too much time on events and memories that like make me feel some sort of way, even if I don't know what it means. I always go on a tangent. I apologize.
No, you're good.
But like for example, like yesterday, my friend sent me. Um, she's a art major, and she's having her like senior performance, and it's called like This Reminded Me of You,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent like an hour like formulating a text to send to her about how that title alone reminded me of a time when she said that to me. And I feel like that's like a feeling that I want to like I would encapsulate in a movie, like these very small things that can mean a lot to like people on an individual day to day. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
informed also by being in Poughkeepsie because it's boring as shit here. So you have to make your own fun and you have to make your own love. So
Yeah. You ever been to the Chance out there?
the chance? What's the
Yeah.
chance?
It's a venue. It's in Poughkeepsie, right?
Oh, I see it now. I've never seen this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've been there a couple times. I saw a ska band there when I
Oh,
was
it's
in college.
closed.
Oh, see, that's why. Damn.
It's
Wow.
closed. You almost got me
Damn.
excited. No, we have the
Unfortunate.
Basilica though.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
a 48-hour drone fest.
Word. That's crazy. Wow. But yo, I mean, like, yeah, like your movie just sounds like your movie just sounds like it'd be like field recordings.
Exactly.
Like it just yeah, just like field recordings of an everyday life type shit.
Exactly.
But Ray, thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much for
so
being here.
much.
No, no, like for real, like seeing your writing, like your writing and your music are both really impressive to me, and like you're really doing great shit. And like once again, like you're doing this like you're not even at your full level yet. This isn't even your final form on some shit. Like you're really about to take whatever you do to some special places, and I'm just excited to see it happen. So like just thank you for just being you and taking the time to talk to me, especially on such short notice. Like I'm so serious about that.
Thank
Thank
you
you, thank
so
you,
much,
thank you.
Dylan. I've always looked at your writing and always been like, this is what I want to do. So thank you
Oh
so much. This is
man.
amazing. This is very full circle.
Oh yeah, like this. Yeah, like I said, this has been a long time coming. It needed to happen, and I'm happy. I'm happy it finally did. So yeah, like like the inspiration is super duper mutual. Like yeah, like I'm like I'm inspired by the work ethic and just like all the different paths that you're taking to express yourself. So please don't stop,
Thank you.
whatever it is, man. Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.